Welcome back to Demoworks YouTube. My name is Carl Clarke. We're talking BROTOX, Botox for men. Why men are doing more Botox? Well, Botox we know is safe. That's one reason. If we know it's safe, then men in general are going to be more apt to have it done. The safety parameters are there. Botox is safe, period. Another reason why men are doing Botox? Well, we are competitive. Men are competitive. We're competitive even against ourselves. We want to look good. We want to look better than our fathers did at our age. We want to look better than our buddies. We want to look good for our spouse and our partners. We're very competitive. So when we see lines, when we see frowns, when we see shadows, we may not know why, but we know we want to get rid of it. The third thing is men are becoming more aware of their visual aging. Everyone is talking about beauty. We're looking at images all over. Every YouTube channel, TikTok, social media, we are looking at people and their age, and we're judging their age based upon our age. So again, that harkens us back to the competitive nature, but we're also so much aware of our own aging as men, maybe more so than our parents. Smartphone usage. Now the smartphone cameras have gotten so good that we can see every tiny detail. This smartphone usage is making us sometimes very conscious of our own aging. And sometimes that can be a detriment because we become insecure. However, it's not necessarily a bad thing. We live in a society where image is everything, whether you like it or not. It happens. For millions of years, we use sight to determine what we do next. So we use vision for everything, and we pick up on age based upon visual cues in the face. And lastly, social media. Social media have seen a boom in the last 5 to 10 years, especially with Instagram and TikTok, especially. And now you see we're having much more close-up images. Most cameras are now coming out 4K. You can see everything. That makes us more aware as well. So these 4 parameters that makes us as men do Botox are there, and they're not going anywhere. We will always do things to look better. Next, where do men like it most? I, for one, likes Botox in my forehead, glabella, and crow's feet. Why? It opens my eyes. I find that when men come to me for their Botox, they're getting it done on the forehead lines, because the forehead lines are one of the first areas that we see our dads. We see our parents, we see our fathers with those forehead deep furrows, and we don't want to get there that soon. So forehead muscles are one of the first places I find men doing their Botox. The second is going to be the crow's feet. Now crow's feet, when you smile, you're flashing these lines on the side. For men, again, it's not a matter of, well, we're getting old, we need Botox. No, it's a matter of what message are you sending with your visual cues. So the message you're sending is either age or not. Whether we like it or not, we are always sending messages from our body language and our visual cues. The third area is between the lines. These are called the glabellar lines. Those glabellar lines are formed because of the thickness of the skin, but also the strength of the muscle. So between those two, those lines can get very, very deep. So a little bit of Botox in the glabellar zone allows the eyebrows to rise, opens up those creases, and allow the skin in between the creases to heal, become re-epithelialized, meaning more skin grows, and so it becomes thicker and you see less of the lines. Botox lasts in general anywhere between 3 and 5 months. We can create many different looks when we're doing Botox. We can either look frozen or we can look relaxed. It's really up to you. Some people prefer to be frozen as long as it's natural. Some people prefer to have a lot of movement as long as it's natural. So doing Botox, doing Botox doesn't mean you have a frozen face. That's bad Botox. Doing Botox the right way means you will always look natural and you will always look your best. Now, let's talk about the cost. Should men be paying more for Botox than women? Not really. So Botox doesn't really work on the skin, doesn't really work on the muscle, it works on the nerve itself. So as it works on the nerve, it's reducing the electrical impulse that is given to the muscle to pull. When that occurs, then your skin doesn't move as much, and so you have less lines. Now, how much Botox you need determines the cost you're gonna spend. So because you're a man doesn't mean you should be paying more. It depends on the landscape. How much area has to be covered for the Botox. So men in general have larger faces, so maybe their Botox might be slightly higher because the dosage has to be increased. But if you're a guy with an average size head, right, then your Botox should not cost more than a female just because you're a male. The third thing I want to talk about is skin thickness, because skin thickness is definitely related to how many lines we're going to see. If you have very thin skin, you may see 30 lines within the forehead. If you have very thick skin, you may see 1 or 2 deep lines within the forehead. So the thickness of the skin has a lot to do with how many lines you see and how those lines appear. So what causes the thickness of the skin to be more in others and less in some as well? Well, number one is genetics. Genetics is going to either allow your skin to be much thicker based upon your genetic code, or the next is UV radiation. So UV coming from the skin can actually hurt the skin, damage the skin, and cause the skin to be very thick in some areas. And as the skin thickens, so too does the line or the deep crevices thicken as well. One other area that makes men do Botox more is the receding hairline. So even if you have a full head of hair, you still recede gradually. Everyone does. And as we recede, we see more of the forehead. As we see more of the forehead, we see more of the lines that are on the forehead. So this receding hairline also pushes us to have the treatment done. So we know it's safe. We know that more men are doing more of the Botox. We know that there's no real harm in doing it, and that we will always be doing things to look our very best. This was Diamond Works YouTube channel. For any additional questions or comments, leave them below. Don't forget to subscribe. There's so much information waiting at your fingertips.